Hello, this is Dr. Janice R. Love, and thank you for visiting my YouTube channel.
Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm Dr. Bobby Love, and I'm going to be your guest facilitator tonight on Pearls Perfected. And this is tonight's show is asking for a sister friend. And I know that you all expected to see my wife, and she does such a fabulous job. But she thought it would be good for us to kind of flip the script tonight. There's some questions that we want to ask her. As many of you know, she took this journey to retire, and we want to ask her some questions about that, basically how it's going. So, without any further ado, let me take this privilege, and it is my honor to bring us our host and founder of Pearls Perfected, Dr. Janice R. Love. Come on in, darling.
Hey, how you doing, dear?
I am doing well. Now, you know you're in trouble because you let me on the show tonight. And for all of your guests, y'all bear with me. I'm going to try to behave myself tonight.
Of
But,
course you will.
darling, I think I got all of the information that I need. And
Okay.
you're entrusting me to talk to your audience tonight. But really, on a
So
serious
let's do
note,
something first. Let me show something first.
oh,
That
yes, let's
so
do that.
you gotta do your job, right?
That's
You
right.
gotta say that we are here for.
We are here for asking for a sister friend. And Dr. Janice is out here weekly every Sunday evening at 7 p.m. Central. And she's bringing content to her audience that is very helpful. So we greatly appreciate all of the fine work that you're doing, darling.
Thank you.
So tonight, in flipping the script on tonight, like to kind of have you to share with your audience because there's been some time now that has transpired where you stepped away from your secular job, you created this, and I kind of want to delve in. Can you kind of tell us a little bit of the background on what led you to the initial decision? Tell us a little bit about how that process went.
Which process of just retiring?
Yeah, the initial decision to retire.
Well, you and I had had conversations for a while. So ever since I had started out by like writing books
Right.
and beginning coaching programs, I knew that at some point in my life I would be doing that full time. That was what I envisioned would happen. But I was toiling with it for a long time because I loved my job, didn't really want to leave my job, was good at my job, and was making decent money, right? So the fear, I think, of going out on my own and not having that as a backup
Hmm.
may have drug it out a lot longer, probably than I would have wanted to, because God really nudged me a little while back. But finally, circumstances were right, and I clearly heard God say, "It's okay. You can do this. Go ahead and do it." So that's when I decided to retire.
Okay. So let me ask you. So you say that God was speaking to you and everything.
Mhm.
So was there the notion to still kind of wrestle with that thing because you know you were comfortable, you're in a job that you enjoyed doing, you was giving back to the community, you bought into the vision of the organization in which you was a part of. So and the Lord is telling you to go a different direction. And did you have any aspirations once you decided to get into retirement? I mean, was there any aspirations that you had, or any planning up until that point?
Well, again, for a long time, I had been coaching and counseling, and then when I got my doctorate in Christian counseling, I
Hmm.
said, "Okay, this is the path I'm going to go on." Was coaching pastors' wives. I was still working with women who were stepmoms. We were still seeing families who were brand new blended families, And again, I knew that this was going to lead to more than what it was. At least that's what I believed at the time.
Okay.
Little did I know that God wanted to take a combination of all the very things that I've been doing. But even in trying to make that decision, there were a couple of things I was worried about. There was some fear. Number one, was I going to let my coworkers down by leaving?
Hmm.
It was a critical time in the workplace because we were doing some transition. There was some turnover and things, and
Hmm.
so I was afraid of letting my coworkers down. I was also just kinda I mean, I worked all my life.
Hmm. Right.
Yeah, and so, again, that fear of suddenly our income was gonna change, significantly until I really was able to build up the practice, and so I think those were the things that worried me, but again, if God has brought me through all the other things in my life, why would I be worried about this? Especially when I felt like I was doing this because that's what he was calling me to do.
Okay. So another question. So once you come out of the secular job that you had, and again,
Mhm,
going through that feeling of letting your coworkers down, it was something that you've done for all those years, making that drive from Kansas over to Missouri,
mhm,
that whole thing. Then once you got retired,
mhm.
and then you start looking at, hey, there's something more that I need to be doing or whatever. Tell us a little bit about the the tension or the opportunity that you felt in making that transition.
So again, when I launched out, I began to seek more clients. So I got registered like on Psychology Today so that they would know that I was available to deliver services. Because again, in many of the networks and social media platforms that I'm
Right.
on, everyone knew I was coaching and counseling.
Right.
But I had an idea in the back of my mind, even when the pandemic came, and
Okay.
that was of Pearls Perfected Institute. And part of that idea was maybe something that frustrated me even when I was in my learning and development career.
Okay.
So when I was working for an organization, healthcare, everybody knows how many regulatory things that there are to train people on. So I was
Right.
constantly having to, in a sense, become the training police to make sure everybody had what they were supposed to have, so we wouldn't get in trouble with the feds or we wouldn't get in trouble with any of our accrediting agencies. And the one thing I loved about my job was the ability to create courses. I
Mhm.
loved creating courses, but the further I got into my career and the needs of the organization, I wasn't able to do as much creating.
Ah.
So in my mind, I decided I was going to create Pearls Perfected Institute, and I was going to build all these courses,
Hmm.
and that any course that anybody needed, again, a wide variety of things, I was going to have a place where people could come take courses. So that
Okay.
was my original idea.
Okay.
And again, it came back during the pandemic, but I was kind of scared to launch out on it. There was so much going on during the pandemic. So I stuck with what I knew best, and that was coaching pastors' wives at the time.
Okay. All right. Another question that I have for you. So you got Pearls Perfected going. You've stepped away from your, as they say, quote unquote, day job.
Mhm,
So can you tell us any little personal anecdotes or stories, if you will, that kind of highlight maybe the key moment in this journey to do. I've heard you say that you weren't retired, or it's
mhm,
not retirement, it's called reassignment. Tell us a little
mhm.
bit about how you came up with that.
Well, again, I when I first told people I was retiring, they're like, "Oh my God, you're too young to retire." And in the minds of many people, retirement is kind of like when you don't do anything. You
Mhm.
just chill, you go on vacation, you do what you want to do, you manage your own schedule. But I don't think I'll ever be a person that truly retires. God's just gonna have to say, sit down,
Mhm.
because there's so much to do. And
Right.
I felt like I wasn't retiring. So that's why I came up with reassignment. This is a reassignment. God is reassigning me to something else, something that He wants me to do. And now I no longer have the excuse of why I can't do it because I'm working a full time job.
Yeah, and I have to tell you, when you came up and you were sharing with me about your retirement and reassignment, I thought that was brilliant. My hat's off to you because, as the young folks say, you did that thing. So we certainly thank God that you stepped out on faith. Just before we go into my next question, and you all forgive me for this is my first time hosting, asking for a sister friend, but I think this would be a good moment for us to do a sponsor break, I think. And I think you got a lovely slide that you can put on.
I don't know what you're doing, but we're gonna
Oh,
try something. Here
all
we go.
right. You put your pearls.
Hello, this is Dr. Janice R. Love, and would you like to be my special guest on Asking for a Sister Friend? Then I invite you to visit pearlsperfectedinstitute.com and visit the About page. We'd love to see how you can help a sister friend.
Again, we're welcome back. We're back with asking for a sister friend. And again, you're alive. And I'm your guest host, Dr. Bobby Love on Pearls Perfected Institute. And we have the privilege of interviewing for this segment my lovely wife, Dr. Janice R. Love, who is the founder. And as we go on our continued journey tonight, we've been asking her how she came up with coming from the secular job or her day job into launching Pearls Perfected. And can you tell us a little bit about your vision? How did you come up with that?
So again,
Inquiring minds want to know.
Okay, so Pearls Perfected, that's been my official company name for some years. I have that is my official company name, Pearls Perfected. So the new launch is really about Pearls Perfected Institute. And again, I had this has just been sitting there and it's kind of like a dream that I had, but again, didn't know how all the pieces were going to come together. So I even hired some people to help me with my website, help me with my copy, but everything still wasn't coming together until after I made the decision to go ahead and stop working my day job. And so as I began to really try to figure this thing out, yeah, I've tried several things, but I began to see Pearls Perfected Institute as not only a place for someone who is dealing with pain, but also a place that's dealing with hope. So let me explain that a little bit.
Okay.
So when I wrote my books, when I wrote my book about being a stepmom, when I wrote my book about being divorced, when I wrote my book about chosen for this, how to be married to ministry and still have your own calling, many of those things were written out of pain.
Hmm.
Okay, and it was my pain, but again, my pain resonated with other people and gave them hope. Okay.
Let me
So,
ask you this. When you talk about that, and I
mhm,
didn't mean to interject, but I
mm-mm,
really want to key in on this because, ladies and gentlemen, she's the author of three books. And, the first book, 1 + 1 = 10, and then Divorced and Still Highly Favored. And then I think the other one was Chosen for This. When you look into that, you're resonating something. You said it came from a place of pain,
mhm,
and I've often heard you say that if people are really truly wanting to help people, they have to be very transparent in
mhm.
their own struggles. They have to be very transparent in their own ups and downs. So could you elaborate a little bit more on that? And I didn't mean to cut you off, but that was
No,
just the point that I think was so valuable.
no, when you look at pretty much any self-help book out there or
Hmm.
or any autobiography, people are sharing their stories.
Hmm.
They're sharing their stories of the pain perhaps that they went through. Even as I invite people on my show,
Hmm.
they're talking about the pain they went through to get
Yes,
to the victory side of it.
yes,
Okay.
yes,
And when they get to the victory side, they can go back and help somebody who's been going through the same thing.
absolutely.
So my vision for Pearls Perfected Institute was to be a place where where I where women could come and transform their troubles from troubles to blessings. Okay, and
Amen.
that's coming from from James 1:4. And again, women go through so many things. So
Hmm.
again, I wanted to create this place where women, any woman who was dealing with any kind of issue, could come and find some help in Pearls Perfected Institute. But at one time, I thought I was going to have to provide that help, which is impossible.
Right.
That's where I was getting stuck because I was like, Lord, how are you going to ask me to write 10 different books? I can only talk about what I've been through. And that's when the light bulb came on, that this is the side where it was a place for hope, not only for the women who would be served by it, but women who had also gone through their own journeys, and now they were helping somebody else to get where they were. So
Absolutely.
it's got two components to it. So if
Okay.
you log into Pearls Perfected Institute, one of the very first things you could do is you can find a coach, counselor, or a therapist. And
Okay.
again, you would come to Pearls Perfected Institute because maybe you're having a challenge. Maybe it's fitness like last week. Maybe it's a marital situation. Maybe
Mhm.
it's health. Maybe it's you need mental health. You need counseling. You need something, right? So women would come there, and so there had to be somebody there to be able to provide the services. And that's when the light bulb came on, that God was taking everything that I have been doing from a secular
Right.
perspective and bringing it together so that I can provide a place for women that again would transform their troubles from bad to blessed.
Yeah.
Again, whether it was from a business perspective, maybe you have been trying to launch out and do your own thing, and now you were ready to share your expertise with the world. Pearls Perfected Institute is the place where you do that. So as I have been making this shift, which has been the hardest shift for me, okay, this
Okay.
has been the hardest shift for me because I have gone from a B to C. You know what B to C is? A business to client perspective. So I
Hmm.
was doing coaching, I was doing counseling. Now I have moved to a B2B. So
Hmm.
I am focusing on businesses.
Hmm.
Okay. Women who have businesses, women who are coaches, who are counselors, who are therapists, who provide services to clients, and they need a place to educate their clients.
Hmm.
So think about it. If you, as Christian counselors,
Hmm.
we we basically did the 1 hour session with individuals. Anybody
Right.
we counseled, we did the 1 hour session with them. But there was so much information and so much that we could teach them outside of the session.
Absolutely.
So oftentimes what I did was I just gave people a copy of my book,
Hmm.
and that expanded what I was doing with them one on one in ways that I could have never accomplished in that 1 hour session.
And I tell you that has been such a blessing to a lot of people. And I do want to put this plug in for you because not because your last host that you had, your guest, she was into fitness,
Mhm.
and she kind of helped me out a little bit. She said, why are you worried about eating that cake? Go ahead and eat that cake, but then have a plan to work off the calories. And I took advantage of that tonight because I had me a big old slice of carrot cake. Now that's
So
all
what's
I'm
your plan?
saying.
What's your plan?
Moving right along.
That's what I thought.
But
Okay.
no, you've interviewed some wonderful guests on your show, and what's been some of your favorites, would you say?
Oh, I mean, every one of them has been my favorite because I have learned something. I have gained some wisdom from each woman who has come on the show, and
Right.
it's so good to see how God is just using all these women
Hmm.
to be blessings to other women, and they have stepped out on faith to do their own thing. But I do want to go back and talk a little bit about. I'm not sure people really understand what Pearls Perfected Institute is.
Okay.
And if I describe it from this perspective, it may make a little more sense.
Okay.
So when I entered into the coaching world
Hmm.
and I began to get coaching clients, so I would do one-on-ones with my coaching clients. I did group coaching, but again, I had all this expertise. I had videos, I had mini ebooks, I had all kinds of lessons and all kinds of things that I needed to share with them in order for them to really embrace the coaching program. Okay.
Hmm.
So over the years, as I've had different coaches, I tried different systems in order to do that.
Okay.
So I have used things like Kajabi, I've used Entreport, I've used Teachable. I used all of these platforms that are basically learning platforms,
Okay.
places where you can build courses.
Hmm.
And so each time I'd had one, now I am a technology person and I did a lot of technology, but oftentimes I had more power in the system than I needed. So it's similar to having, if you remember the old business phones where you might have had like 10 lines on them at the
Right. Right.
receptionist desk or something like that. I had like 10 times the power that I needed, plus I was having to pay for it.
Hmm.
So let's say I was paying $150 a month. I was really using probably only about $30 of that, but I
Right.
could not get it. I couldn't get any variation of that. So again, I spent a lot of money.
Okay.
So again, always think of Pearls for Fix It Institute as a school.
Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
So at level two, a person can have a client learning portal within Pearls Perfecta Institute that stores their information. Okay.
Oh, so
So
if I'm teaching classes or a person is teaching classes, I can go list in with you, get on level 2, and individuals can find me there and take the classes that I have in that one-stop shop.
okay, but let's look at it from a different perspective
Okay.
because the way I have this set up is actually it is a bonus to your clients. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So again, if I have a client that I have written a white paper, I have written an ebook, and I want them to be able to have more enhanced services from me. They're already my client. I'm not selling them anything. I'm providing extra value to them.
Oh, okay.
So I can just simply assign them this section.
Oh,
So I did a webinar the other day, and I did a demonstration of a course called "How to Get a Good Night's Sleep." Okay, because
okay.
we know that that's a problem in the United States that people are having trouble sleeping. So, for instance, if you had a client and you were counseling them, and
Mhm.
they were saying, sleep is my problem. Maybe you're not an expert on sleep, but you could load some information in the portal for them to access. It could be a
Oh, okay.
YouTube video. It
Right.
could be it could be something you've created, but it could also be something somebody else created that is free information that you could share with them.
Oh, and they can just get it right there in your portal.
Exactly. So when
Oh,
you
yeah.
think of it that way, it's an extra value for the clients you already have. You're not out there trying to sell anything. You're serving the people that you already have, and you have a way to share with them some of the wonderful things you're doing for other clients. And so then they're able again to get that extra value. So it helps you by extending you beyond that 1 hour session,
Right.
right?
Gotcha.
And it also helps the client. It could actually improve their treatment goals. It
Okay.
can just improve their engagement with you, the trust factor that they have with you as a coach, counselor, or therapist. Okay, so that's
Okay.
level two,
All right. Now
right?
tell us about
So
level 3.
okay, so level three is where you want to be not only a teacher, but you want to be a creator.
Okay.
Okay. And you get a little more stuff. You could do a whole lot more in the system. So I can set you up with almost the same access that I have. So if you want to go in and record and edit your own videos and do all that kind of stuff, then I let you have at it. I can give you some training on how to do that. And in fact, some of it can still be done for you, but I let you become a full creator. So you're not just a instructor, you're a full-fledged professor
So
at
what
that
that
point.
does for me then, it allows me the opportunity to do everything in-house, and I'll have the technical expert who can assist me in putting that content together and putting it out there. And it's housed in one place.
Yes, yes. So
Oh my goodness. That is
that's what
blessed.
it is. And again, I love it, and I'm so thankful that God gave me this vision because I it sounds like something that's impossible because it's something that I wish I had when I was trying to find a system to use to be able to serve my clients.
Right, right. But
So
you
the
know,
other thing I did,
go ahead.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, the
I
other
didn't
thing
mean,
I didn't mention is I do corporate clients as
well,
well.
what you say? Well, you're
So
covering all circles.
So say an entrepreneur that has expanded a little bit
Hmm.
and they now have employees.
Hmm.
So one of my clients, and I'm so excited about what she's doing, is she has some part-time employees.
Right.
So she's going to build out an employee learning portal.
Oh, okay.
So we're putting together an onboarding manual for her new employees. We're also doing videos for how they need to do certain things. It's just like you would have if you were in corporate America.
Corporate America, right.
Right.
Oh, that
So
is
she
great.
she has two sides of it. She has she's setting up a portal for her clients,
Yes.
and she's also setting up a portal for her employees.
Oh, that is
So
great.
I'm really excited about where God is taking this because again, I might not have imagined that I would have corporate clients,
Right.
but that just gives me another avenue, and I'm just so excited whenever God leads me to hire some people because obviously I'm not gonna be able to do all this by
Right.
myself.
Right.
So
And,
I'm
and I can
excited
just see
about it.
when you say that, and I know your favorite scripture is Romans 8:28,
Mhm.
for we know that all things work together for the good. And I tell you, I can just see that that's really happening for you.
Mm.
And as we get ready to come to the conclusion of my interview of you, certainly want to share with those who perhaps tuned in a little bit late that it's been my esteemed pleasure to interview your host, Dr. Janice R. Love. I got to be the facilitator on tonight, and we simply asked her questions about her retirement coming out of the secular world. We asked her questions about the vision that she had to start Pearls Perfected. And she shared with us about the three various levels that her company has for you. If you're looking to really hook up and to expand your business or to get some extra oomph, if you will, this is the place to do it. For she's done a wonderful job. And the closing question that I have for you tonight, Dr. Janice Darling Love,
Mhm.
is there anything else that perhaps you'd like to share about this particular journey Pearls Perfected has in its future plans? What would you like to share? Is there anything that I didn't ask you that you would want your audience to know?
So trying to becoming a B2B business has really been a journey for me.
Okay.
And I signed up and took a business class because when you think about it, I'm becoming more like a company versus an entrepreneur. I'm an
Right.
entrepreneurial company, but I'm becoming a company. So I had to figure out how to run a company.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Well, you're doing a good
um,
job. And
well, I
and
had to have a
yeah.
business plan and all that kind of
Right.
stuff.
Right.
But and so one of the things that I'm doing to really um, educate people about some of the features and some of the things that you can do in Pros Perfected Institute in my client learning portal, which I call Learn It by Heart Client Learning Portal.
Hmm.
I'm doing a series of webinars. So they
Okay.
just started last week. This is a step out on faith for me, trust me, to be doing these webinars. But I'm doing a series of 6 webinars over
Okay.
the next 6 weeks. So the first one was just this past week, where I talked about how to use AI, which is I am learning so much about AI. How
Artificial
AI can
intelligence.
yes, how AI can really be a benefit, and it's easier to navigate than one believes. And
Hmm.
so this week I'm going to be talking about how easy it is for you to do an ebook. I
Okay.
meet a lot of people who talk about the fact that they want to write books, right? So they talk about it, they contact me sometime and say, I really want to write a book. And they may not be ready for it. But
Hmm.
in Pros Perfected Institute, you literally can test out an ebook.
Well, what you say?
And so I'm
Sign
going
me
to
up.
I know we're gonna get your book out. But you can do so many wonderful things. And
Okay.
so I'm gonna be doing a webinar this week on how you would be able to create an ebook and the value that an ebook would
Okay.
bring
Okay.
to your brand, basically.
Okay. And
So
for everybody, they can get that information by going to what is your website?
you can go
Yeah.
to pearlsperfectedinstitute.com, but my webinars will be running every Thursday from
Okay. Every
12:30 to
Thursday.
1:30.
Okay.
And if you follow me on social media, which many people do, You're seeing it on social media right now. If you
Okay.
follow me on LinkedIn or if you follow me on Facebook, there will be an advertisement where you can actually sign up. Okay.
Okay.
Even if you can't get there between 12:30 and 1:30, because I know many of you might be working and your business might be a side gig, you can still sign up and then you'll get it on demand. So
Okay.
you can watch it whenever you want to. So
Okay.
the the um the webinars are a huge thing, and stay tuned for some more stuff that we're going to be doing with Pearls Perfected Institute.
Well, look at you. Well, tonight, again, we just wish you and your audience is praying for you. And we also pray, like the prayer of Jabez on you, that your territory be expanded because you're doing such a good work helping people who are hurting. Also, you're helping women to be able to expand their businesses by offering these resources. So, darling, we love you. And our prayer is that you keep going to higher and higher heights. And I think this is where I'm going to take my exit. And thank you so very much for allowing me the privilege to interview you to your audience. And I hope I did a good job. And I think I behaved myself. But when
You
I'm on your
did.
other show, I do cut up. But I won't cut up tonight because I'm the facilitator.
Great. So if anybody has any questions out there, definitely put them in the comment box. But thanks to all those who tuned in and said the wonderful things. Thanks for this episode. Thanks for teaching us. A couple of former actual retirees have talked about, that's how I did it. I wish I had done certain things. So thank you all for joining. I really, really appreciate you. And for my following, get the word out. If you know somebody who needs the service, I have not left you. For those who I was serving at the coaching and counseling level, and even in my private group, which is her own platform established on Facebook, I am still with you. I'm just going to try to do everything that the Lord has assigned me to do, and do it in an efficient way that I can serve more people.
Amen. Amen.
So,
So
so
again,
thank you.
thank you.